You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And again, thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. We hope you're having a great Wednesday out there in Sooner Nation. It's another day to sit there and find reasons to be optimistic about what Oklahoma is going to be doing this weekend against Tennessee. And it's easy, I think, to be not so confident in what you're going to get out of Oklahoma this game. I understand. We haven't seen the offense play to its fullest potential. We haven't seen a consistent passing attack from Jackson Arnold and the wide receivers. We haven't seen a dominant offensive line performance. We haven't seen a dominant run game. So I totally understand why you might not be optimistic about Oklahoma's chances against the Volunteers. Totally reasonable. It totally is. At the same time, I think this is an Oklahoma offense that's trending in the right direction. I think we started to see a little bit more signs of life from the running game last week. Was it good? No. It was average, probably. But with the way that Jackson Arnold's running the football, I think that does change some things for the Oklahoma Sooners. You know, maybe they didn't want to get into that bag this early in the season, but it's an important part of the offense because his run ability is so good that you have to make it a part of your every week game plan. Now, they're not going to try and expose him too much with a lot of quarterback power and quarterback draw, but they will use it, and they've been really effective when they've used it. The read option game, I think, is going to be key to unlocking Oklahoma's run game potential, because as teams have to focus more on Jackson Arnold at the mesh point, that point where Jackson Arnold's got the ball tucked into the running back's belly and he's having to decide, okay, do I give it to him or do I keep it and run? Defenses are going to have to pay more attention to Jackson Arnold. They can't just hone in on the running back and sell out to stop that run, because we saw with Tulane, when they did that, Jackson Arnold was off, man, and there was nobody in sight. He had two really, really good runs out of the read option concept. And so I imagine they continue to keep that as a part of the game plan. Again, it's going to be a much more athletic and much more active Tennessee defensive front and linebacker core, but still, the reason it's so effective is because of the misdirection. And if they can get Tennessee biting and flowing to the running backs, that's going to open some things up. But the big reason why you shouldn't necessarily sleep on the Oklahoma Sooners, it's because of the defense. I get Tennessee's offense is really stinking good, and I get that they've been putting up electric numbers through the first 3 weeks of the season, but they hadn't played nobody. NC State, again, I mentioned it in the read just a second ago, but NC State is currently ranked lower in the SP Plus rankings than Houston. Let that sink in for a second. That was a ranked NC State team, and Tennessee gets credit for it. They're going to get credit for the ranked win, the top 25 win, but it's not a good NC State team. It's not a team that you look at and you're like, yeah, they should be ranked. Remember, Florida State was once ranked. They were ranked in the top 10, and now we see where they are. So those preseason rankings don't mean a whole lot right now. And the SP Plus is evolving and it's adjusting for the analytics. Well, Houston is considered a better team in the SP Plus rankings than NC State. So you got that. I think that where this game is going to be won and lost is going to be on Oklahoma's ability to slow down the run game. And I'm going to talk in greater detail about that next. And Oklahoma's been really, really good against the run. This is a defense that I think prides itself on stopping the run. You've got a front seven with a defensive tackle rotation where all four guys, Dominic Williams, Dejon Terry, Jaden Jackson, Grayson Halton, they can all stop the run. You've got an Ethan Downs at defensive end that can stop the run really well. R. Mason Thomas is starting to come into his own before our very eyes. And then your linebacker crew is just really good at getting downhill and getting into the backfield. They read it well and they see it well and they attack. So I like where Oklahoma's defense is at. And we talked about in the first segment how the cornerback group is really stepping up with Kenai Walker and Des Malone, and how that reality is going to make things a lot better for your pass rush. That if you're getting sticky coverage like they provided against Tulane, then your pass rush is going to have a better opportunity to get home. So the reason why I stay confident, stay optimistic about where Oklahoma's at and Oklahoma's chances to win this game, it resides on the defensive side of the ball. And there's no reason not to be optimistic because look, this is a better defense than what Oklahoma had a year ago. And that Oklahoma defense held Texas to 23 points. And I've said it on this show. I think that Texas team last year was a better team than this Texas team. I think that Texas team is a better team than this Tennessee team. This is a really good Tennessee team, but I think that Texas team was better than this Tennessee team. Remember, that's a Texas team that went into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama. Now, what happened last year has no bearing on what happens this year, but I do think this is a better defense that Oklahoma is rolling out onto the field on Saturday night to face the Tennessee Volunteers. And so that's where I find some confidence because, again, held Texas last year to 23 points. You're better this year. You're better on the interior than you were last year. You have a better edge group than you did last year. You have a better linebacker core, basically because it's more developed, right? You went into that Texas game with Kip Lewis kind of starting to really come into his own. Jaren Kanak was still getting a lot of snaps. You had seen maybe a little bit of Kobe McKenzie, but not a lot. Sam Omasigo and Lewis Carter really hadn't factored in just yet. But now you're seeing all these blue chip prospects getting significant snaps in your front seven. And it's starting to create the reality. It's starting to create the promise that Oklahoma's defense is going to be a Brent Venables defense. And so as much as the offense needs to step up and continue to find that upward trajectory, you can find a little bit of confidence, maybe a lot of confidence in what Oklahoma's defense is doing right now. They're playing really, really good football. And if they can continue to play really good football and they can continue to stop the run, if they can find that consistent pass rush, if they can continue to play sticky coverage outside, it's going to make life challenging for Nico. But Nico's not going to be the biggest threat. He's going to be a threat. It's going to be a big challenge for the Oklahoma Sooners. He's a really talented quarterback, but the biggest threat that Oklahoma faces is somewhere else in the offense. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. Hey, Sooner fans, have you heard about ROY? It stands for Return on You, and it's a new platform that lets you, the fans, get involved in NIL like never before. By making contributions directly to your favorite athletes, by supporting players directly, you can help shape rosters, retain talent, and keep your favorite athletes out of the transfer portal. As you all know, NIL has changed the game for athletes. ROY changes the NIL game for fans. ROY allows fans to directly back their favorite college athletes. With ROY, fans can play a key role in shaping the future of their favorite teams, while athletes maximize their name, image, and likeness. And there are no risk contributions. Fan contributions are securely held and are only distributed if the athlete makes the decision that aligns with the fan support. If not, the money is returned to the fan. So go download ROY for iOS or Android and enter referral code Locked On, all caps, and you'll automatically be entered in a sweepstakes to win $5,000 cash. Visit joinroy.com for additional details. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Get the ROY app for iOS or Android and start making an impact on your favorite team. Use referral code Locked On for an opportunity to win $5,000 cash. Visit roy.com for more details. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Get off the sidelines and into the NIL game with ROY.